Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, wonderful, wonderful individual you. Today, I would like to speak about our second inner person that we normally do not see outside unless we actually express this being. It is the one we monologue/dialogue with when we are by ourselves, when we observe something and we have opinions on something. We have this second person kind of, well, in many cases, subconsciously judging this without having taken it into consideration yet. Now, if we use this second person and being alive within it, not, as Rudolf Steiner said, let's say we notice jealousy or anger or such within ourselves, we obviously want to quickly not only rid ourselves of it, but transforming it so it is not any longer you are not, what's the word for it? Susceptible to these things anymore in the same way you were, because you have worked upon yourself. Now, this second person will, in future incarnations, no longer be able to be hidden. It will be what you express, because we no longer can pretend to be something we are not. We will directly become the nature we are inwardly, and it will become our countenance over incarnations, of course. It is already kind of begun, because you see facial expressions, micro-expressions, anything that can, expose our inner being. And the more honest you are with yourself, the more capable you are of showing who you are in, anytime, anywhere. That means it's kind of like an impromptu creativity constantly. And that includes in, when you have relationships, when you are by yourself, when you strive to know the higher worlds and the hierarchy. They also have immense knowledge, but they show these types of knowledge in both emotional understanding and in pictures. They are not very fond of using language because it's too linear. They show us through huge, gigantic, epic, legendary pictures of proportions that really cannot be put into words, but they are there if we allow ourselves to awaken this conscious clairvoyance. It's like consciously dreaming, but you are utilizing this picturesque consciousness you have in the background with your consciousness you have as a focus, and you utilize these two together with each other, in a sense. So whenever you observe something, you allow it to breathe life into it with imagination at the same time. The more you do this, the more the higher worlds will inspire these imaginations and give it life, give it purpose, give it a direction. And of course, it is about holding to a certain amount of trust, for reminding ourselves of this, trust in that we are guided and there is a wise guidance to everything, and we are where we belong, karmic wise. So to constantly strive for something that is more loving, more nurturing, warm, beautiful. It is to strive for what is feeling right, what feels, not only looks beautiful, but also feels beautiful. It feels warm, inclusive, uniting, holy, whole, Holy means whole. And the Holy Spirit, the whole Spirit, where every single thing you can imagine with your focus, consciousness, and imagination is the whole Holy Spirit, what you can get to know consciously. Now, to having everyone included in oneness, and at the same time knowing that we all are an ego, allowing that spark, that star to shine forth from another human being, and to not override or try to dominate or, overwhelm anyone with our own consciousness, but trying to hold always a balance from you to other, from you to me, from him to her, and so on. It is about the respect of allowing the individual to be an individual and not trying to bend them to what we wish them to become, in a sense. It is, of course, it is all about holding to the moral at the same time. And that is easier said than done. But it is always worth it, because in the end you feel warmth. You feel you are connecting to the higher worlds, which are operating in the moral, which are operating in the true, the good, and the beautiful. They are always the one feeling, the one thought that uplifts you, that gives you that oomph to keep on going, despite anything looking, grave or gray or cold. You warm it up with your own being, with the help of the higher worlds, of course. For with your own being and the higher worlds, you truly warm up both your thoughts, feelings, and will impulses, allowing you to move into certain directions. Of course, we do take this in strides and increments. We are not in a hurry. We do not force. We are not bulldozers. It is about flowing, and it is a passive resistance to the ugly and a loving, You take in the beautiful. It is a receptivity to the beautiful, and a passive resistance to the ugly. Now, the ugly and the beautiful, I mean both in the aesthetic sense, which means when you see something, when you see someone doing something good for others, that looks beautiful. Of course, the moral beauty of it is when you see someone do something beautiful for another, it feels beautiful. Do something good for another. It feels warm, beautiful. And just like when we feel jealousy or anger and become aware of it, we immediately notice it is not a right feeling. It is a feeling of something grasping onto our being. And when you become aware of your own inner being, these things are not just willy-nilly showing up and taking over all of a sudden. No. They are not capable of coming into your conscious being because you do not allow these feelings to come in. It is a certain promise to yourself, if you will, and also a practice to hold oneself steady and strong, to not allowing in the 7 vices: pride, sloth, lust, gluttony, greed, wrath, or envy. Any of these are luciferic and harmonic beings that takes over our feelings and thoughts, guiding them towards certain areas. So the more we become awake to, all the forces that are affecting us, and nurturing and nourishing the loving, warm, beautiful forces, the more that opens up to you, and the forces of ugliness closes up where it is not. Of course, we do constantly and visibly see them, for we should never let go of the gaze and visibility of them, because they work the best in the shadows. They are very much effective in the shadows. So the more we are aware of them, the more they become inert. They cannot move when they are truly being seen, in a sense. So the more you are awake to your own inner being, both the strength and weaknesses, the more you allow in either or. And, the white or the black wolf, and you are the feeder, hence threefold nature of the human being. That is the balance. Of course, it is not really a black wolf, white wolf. It truly is a scale and 2 extremes. And we are the holder of the balance of these 2 extremes. The middle, the conscious, the human being, is in the balance, in the perfect balance, where you do not stray too much from one extreme to the other. For once you reach one extreme, you will karmically have to go over to the other extreme to make amends for the results and the effects of that extreme. And that is not always fun. So So holding oneself to the middle, we oscillate as little as possible to the extremes, and holding oneself balanced and calm and clear, and at the same time warm and loving. And that is what I will leave you with today. May you be protected, guided, blessed, and loved by Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, Michael, ancient masters of old, ancestors from every incarnation, and may you be provided for with all that you need to survive, live, thrive, being creative, inspirational, and healing to the world, so others can choose to follow when the time is right. And may you be safe and sound. Love you. See you. Goodbye.